Welcome to SJS Arts. So today I'm gonna talk about this Harvard Film PhD program, narrative films list that you can find on Letterboxd. It's a fairly old list. I've been aware of this list for the past 3 or 4 years. And I've gotten lots of recommendations from this list. This list is a mix of like very big, well-known classics in the film canon, but there are also some bit lesser known films that you might not often see on other lists. So that's what is one of my favorite things about this list, that you can actually find lots of films that you don't hear about elsewhere from this list. So I've gotten many great recommendations from this list. Yeah. But I'm not gonna analyze this list in any kind of very deep way. I'll give you some general thoughts about it and I'll show you the list, and hopefully you will be interested in the list and maybe find out about some new interesting films that you might want to watch sometime in the future. But anyway, let's start. So here's a link, by the way, if you want to learn more about the list too. But like I said, it's not a very recent list, so the list kind of goes to, I think, the early 2010s and then it ends. So there aren't any films from the last few years here. But this list is in chronological order. Before we start, I have seen 291 films out of the 343 films in the list, so 52 to go. I'm planning to complete this list at some point, but I don't put that much effort into completing a list these days as I used to. I used to kind of work harder on completing this list, but I will complete it at some point. And many of the films that I haven't watched from this list yet are something that I am very excited to watch. Although there are a couple that I'm less excited to watch too, but I'm always willing to challenge myself and even watch films that I'm not that interested in, because sometimes the films that I'm not that excited about end up being way better than I expect. Anyway, so this starts with these like very early silent films, some of the first films that were ever made. These are short films, obviously, how you have the Méliès stuff and Lumiere stuff and stuff like that. But I've watched almost all silent films from this list. There are quite a lot of silent films here, and this is actually a really good list for silent film recommendations, as it has some bit lesser known ones as well, and bit of everything, and both again feature length and us short films. Yeah, there's Kabiria that a nerd list gave a shout out to in our recent podcast. Yeah, but this one is the one big silent film that I haven't seen, a very big hole in my knowledge. The Vampires, or the Arch Criminals of Paris, or Le Vampire. Yeah. But it's just so long. I've been meaning to watch it, but due to the length, I haven't. But obviously, if you look at these films on this page right now, you can see there are lots of like really big classics like The Phantom Carriage, Dr. Caligari, again the very controversial film, The Bird of a Nation, Intolerance. Yeah, so lots of famous stuff here, but also some stuff that maybe not as many people have knowledge of. Yeah. One of my favorite discoveries from this list was this film, one of my favorite silent films, By the Law. Very interesting Soviet silent film that I would recommend people to watch. Yeah, I'm sure that I would have heard about it like elsewhere eventually too, but the first time I heard of it was from this list, so quite a while ago. Yeah, and yeah, lots of big classics here, but some lesser known ones too. Yeah. Yeah, now we are in the kind of early sound period here. Yeah, there are lots of 30s films on this list, and I've watched quite a lot of them. Yeah, And I think there's a pretty decent like country representation here. You have American stuff, European stuff, Latin American stuff, African stuff in this list, Asian stuff in this list. Bit of everything, although of course you could always argue that it could have even more different types of representation and maybe the balance is off in certain ways, but I think overall it's a good representation of bit of everything which I like. Yeah. I always kind of think when I see this list that as it is for PhD students that it's recommending films like again Sunset Boulevard and The Red Shoes that I think if you are getting a PhD, maybe you should have seen these films before getting a PhD, and then the PhD list could be a bit more kind of deep cuts, as you would have watched the kind of really big stuff like Tokyo Story, Sunset Boulevard, Rashomon before your PhD. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah, but again, this was for film and visual studies PhD. Again, I don't know what this program kind of entails. So obviously it's film studies. So if you go for film studies PhD, I think you should have seen like some of these like really basic classics probably before you start your PhD. Um, but yeah, whatever. I guess Harvard knows better. Yeah, obviously, like you look at this page here, like really basic classics, very worthwhile films to watch. But yeah, um, but there will be a lot more kind of lesser known stuff in a bit here. These I still haven't watched The Connection. By the way, I'll probably show you all the films that I haven't seen from the list in the end, but I'll shout out some of them already. But I believe The Connection is on YouTube. This is also a film that I don't usually see in other lists. I'm pretty sure that I haven't even seen it in any other like film lists, at least the famous ones that I know, but this sounds like an interesting movie, so should give it a go. Hopefully sometime soon. I've been meaning to watch it for quite a while, but haven't yet. Yeah. So you can see that most of this stuff is art house stuff. Not all of it, but most of it is. There's lots of kind of more political films here too, like the Battle of Algiers, for example. Yeah, some Bresson, some Pasolini, and with some of these directors, you have like some of the lesser known works and not the most famous ones. Obviously, Pasolini has a few films that are way more famous than The Hawks and the Sparrows. And this film, by the way, I watched it like fairly recently. I really struggled with it. It's definitely a good film, but yeah, I really struggled with it. But I need to rewatch it at some time. Yeah, I didn't remember that Death by Hanging was here, but I'm really glad to see it. It's a film that everybody should watch. A complete masterpiece. I would say slightly underrated. Um, as to me, it's like it's just like one of the greats, but usually people seem to think that it's just good, but not maybe amazing. Yeah, quite a way trio here. If My Night at Maud's, Death by Hanging, all are favorites of mine. So all I should rewatch sometime soon. Yeah, and this Glauber Rock film I've been meaning to watch. Antonio Das Mortes. Glauber Rock is a director. I've watched, I think, three of his films. I've liked all of them. Very important, very interesting director that I need to watch more of his films. I know Radiance is gonna release one of his films on Blu-ray that I haven't seen, but so that's cool to see one of his great films coming out on Blu-ray. But yeah, there's this Melvin Van Peebles film, Sweetback's badass song. I've been meaning to watch as well, hopefully sometime soon. Again, by the way, the rating 2.5 that you see there, it's not from me because I haven't seen it, but it's from the person who made this list on Letterboxd. Yeah. Yeah. Again, lots of different stuff here. You have Bertolucci, Scorsese, Truffaut, Peter Weir, Marguerite Duras, Jean Eustache, Terence Malick, Buñuel. You even have Shaft, which has a great soundtrack, but the film itself wasn't my cup of tea really. Yeah, Xala, I really need to watch. Ousmane Sembene seems like a very interesting director that I need to explore more. Hasn't there been some rumblings that maybe there will be like a box set on Criterion, or if not a box set, at least some of his other films that aren't on the collection yet would come to the Criterion, and I would definitely welcome that. Yeah, I know my Honey Beach, my viewer Beaches, really love this one, Cría Cuervos. Yeah, which is a great movie. Great movie. Has a great song in it called Porque the Us. I think that's what it's called, but I really enjoy that song. It was kind of the highlight for me in the film, even though the film otherwise is very good too. Have some Angelopoulos there with the traveling players. And more Oshima with In the Realm of the Senses, his most famous film probably, even though to me it's one of his weakest, but Killer of Sheep you often see on these lists. Good film. This one I would highly recommend to people. Again, people don't really talk about this, the hypothesis of the stolen painting, Raul Ruiz film. Very amazing experimental film. Both people obviously was released by Criterion like a year ago or 18 months ago or something like that. Good movie as well. Yeah, I kind of had seen it due to this list before it came out on Criterion. Um, this is a very good Peter Greenaway film that was released by BFI, the Troutman's Contract. Highly recommend this. I haven't gotten the Blu-ray yet, but hopefully I can get it at some point. This one I mentioned in another video recently, The Wind. I really want to watch this one. Carmen was recently on a Finnish streaming service, but then it was taken off before I could watch it, so that's a bit sad, but sounds like a very interesting movie. Yellow Earth, I think I watched on YouTube on a bad print. I think this is only available on like VHS quality print, so hopefully it will get restored at some point and released as it is. Good stuff. Yeah. Caravaggio is a very beautiful film. Yilen is an Yilen, I don't know how to pronounce it, but very interesting film as well. Yeah. You can see here like some bit lesser known films like this one, for example. I don't think many people know of this, and I haven't seen it. Wedding in Galilee. Yeah. And of course, many of these are African films. Not that many people have watched them. I've watched some of them from this list, but and you come across these films in other lists too if you look at many lists. Yeah. I even have some Aki Kaurismäki here. Time of the Gypsies sounds very interesting. I haven't watched it yet. I've watched the underground film from the same director, which was very interesting, quite absurd, but also dark at the same time. And more Angelopoulos here. This is a bit of a lesser known one than Traveling Players, but I actually might prefer this one to the Traveling Players, at least after I've watched both films once. La Belle Noiseuse is a masterpiece, would recommend that to all. Daughters of the Dust was something that I was really hyped to see for a long time, and then I watched it, I think, end of the last year, and I really liked it a lot. Such a beautiful film. But then some of these basic darlings here, like Satan Tango and Chunking Express. This one I'm really looking forward to, the Queen's Treason. Now we're gonna get to the end of the list. Some more recent stuff. We have some Atom Egoyan, some Claire Denis, Kiarostami, Kieslowski, Chai Ming Liang, Lars von Trier. Yeah, this I would highly recommend to people. Platform by Xia Shanke. Again, I always mispronounce that name, but very interesting. This is one that I don't think people talk about that much, Waiting for Happiness, but I remember liking it. This is an interesting code art film, Eloge de l'amour. Yeah, that kind of quite different, more recent code art stuff. Usaak is a great Nuri Ceylan film. Yeah, one of his earlier films. Russian Ark is a stunning movie. Very interesting experimentation. Then again, Pan's Labyrinth is quite of a mainstream one here. The Holy Girl was pretty good, but not one of my favorites. Colossal Youth I watched recently, and another Petro Costa masterpiece. And the list ends at Uncle Boon Me, which is a great movie. Great movie. The Tree of Life. Carlos I haven't watched yet, but not that excited to be honest. This I'm very excited about Koji Wakamatsu's United Red Army. Yeah, as I really like Go Go Second Time Virgin by Koji Wakamatsu, which is a film that deserves to be in a list like this, but it isn't. But the White Ribbon is a really big blind spot of mine. But anyway, that was the list. Like you could see a bit of everything here, mostly art house, but in terms of countries and subject matter, there's quite a lot of different stuff here. I mean, there's definitely it leans towards quite a bit like political films. There are quite a lot of that stuff here, and then I feel like there's like a pretty decent amount of stuff from like normally kind of underrepresented countries, and it's not just full of like Italian and French films that many lists are, or Japanese films, but it has films from Latin America and Africa, for example, and it has decently kind of again stuff from like the from when filmmaking started in the late 19th century up to the time this list was made. Yeah, so lots of different years and decades represented here. Lots of really famous filmmakers, but some filmmakers that are really good but bit lesser known as well here. So yeah. And again, most films that I have watched from this list I like at least to a certain degree. Some of these films I really love, like Taste of Cherry, Three Colors Red, for example. But there have been some films that I haven't been the biggest fan of, but I don't think there are many here that I would say that I hate. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I would really recommend for you to check this list out also yourself and let me know how many films you have seen. From the list, again, I have 52 films to go, and I'll now show you the ones that I haven't seen. Again, the Blue Angel, for example, is a really big blind spot that I've been meaning to correct for several years now, but I just haven't been in the mood for it, I guess. Although that's a stupid excuse. I should watch it whether I'm in the mood for it or not. Yeah. Sometimes you will never watch a film if you just wait for the right mood. Sometimes you just have to say, fuck it, I'm gonna watch it now. That would be a better attitude, but we as human beings are really good at coming up with excuses, even for things that we really love. And for me, a thing that I really love is cinema and exploring new films I haven't seen yet, and expanding my mind with great art. Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to watching most of these again. This Andrew Vaida film Canal, for example, I think I'm probably gonna like a lot. And then uh, a report on the party and the guests sounds very interesting, and it's from my favorite year in cinema history. So it's very rare that I'm disappointed with films that came out in 1966. So War and Peace, I would have watched this already if I wasn't gonna read the book first, but I want to read the book first before I watch the film. That's the only reason I haven't watched this yet. Yeah, this is a Stroop and Huli film, not reconciled. This was quite a short film, I believe. It was only like was it like 50 something minutes. Yeah, 55 minutes. Yeah. And the Stroop and Huli films have been like very interesting, although I haven't like absolutely adored any of them yet, but I haven't explored them enough. This one I tried to find once, Blood of the Condor, but I wasn't able to find it anywhere, although it's been a while since I last looked for it, so I might have better luck the next time I'm searching for it. But we'll see. Hopefully, I can find it at some point. And yeah, Antonio das Mortes is one of the next ones I'm definitely gonna watch. Last Tango in Paris is a very famous film that I haven't watched, a big blind spot of mine. And this one I'll try to watch soon as well as Xala. Although I think again Xala I think it has a fairly recent restoration, so it might be worth it to wait and watch the new restoration when it becomes available somehow to me. So yeah. Um, but yeah, this saturated ray film, I'm really looking forward to the home and the world. Sounds very interesting. And this Hao Xiaoshen film, The Puppet Master. So this gets restored as well, so I'd rather wait for the restoration instead of watching it like 360p or full quality on like online or whatever. Um, Zhang Yimou films, I have to say, haven't really been my cup of tea for the most part. To me, they are very much style over substance. They are really beautiful to look at, but in terms of the plot and the character, there isn't much there. At least to me, again, I could be wrong, but yeah, the Red Lantern one, that was one exception that I really enjoyed. Yeah, this one, Jane Campion film, An Angel at My Table. Apparently an amazing movie. Looking forward to that. And this, I think I already mentioned that Queen's Treason. I'm really looking forward to, again, the Victor Erise film. I'm not sure where this is available, but apparently this is an amazing movie. So then the White Ribbon I've been meaning to watch for fucking ages, but I don't know why, but I just cannot get myself to watch it even though I'm looking forward to it. But some of these days I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. Salam Bombay. Been meaning to watch that one as well. And yeah, Carmen sounds really interesting and amazing. We'll see how it is when I get to it. But anyway, that was the list. Let me know what you think of the list. Let me know how many films you have seen from this list. You can also let me know what you think of this type of like recommended watch lists for like university programs or anything, or if you have studied film in the university, let me know. That would be interesting. Again, I haven't studied film in the university. I'm kind of self-taught, you could say. And my approach to learning about films has just been that watching lots of films and talking about films to other people through YouTube and other places and trying to read reviews and watch other people's videos and things like that. That's how I kind of have gained my film knowledge. That is still quite lacking, but I still have more work to do. I should start reading more film related books and keep my film watching up and try to always expand the horizons and try to give many different types of films a chance. That's my philosophy, even though, of course, I have my biases and flaws in my approach as well as everybody has. But yeah, and you can also let me know, like out of these 52 films that I haven't seen yet, which ones I should watch next and very soon. If there is any out of these that you like really love, I would love to hear about it. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not looking to complete this list like soon. I don't like work as hard on these lists as I used to. But I'm very interested in lists and I like to look at these for recommendations, but I'm not quite as obsessed about them as I used to be a couple of years ago. But yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Don't drink all the coke. Sayonara and arigato gozaimasu. Go to Harvard or just watch these films and you can get a PhD for yourself.